Welcome to the Music City Model Works. Just wanted to do a quick update on the Pro Street Challenger, 70 Pro Street Challenger. I wanted to tackle the tubbing of the kit first. My intention was to cut the rear end out of the Dirty Donnie 70 Pro Street Super B and made it to the chassis of the 70 Dodge Challenger TA Rebel kit, the Super B, an AMT kit. The issue was, and I guess it is going to be, that the Pro Street Super B excuse me, is a 125th scale car, and the Rebel Dodge Challenger is a 124 scale. As I said, I think in my last video, one of the things I think that's going to work in my favor, and it's already kind of come to fruition, if you will, the Super B is I don't want to say a substantially larger car, but it is a larger car than the Dodge Challenger is in 1-to-1 scale. So when you plan to do things like this, or when you're wanting to, maybe when you have a kit that you're building, let's say 124 scale like this Challenger, and you need a part, maybe a part of the motor, or you want to, like, say you want to take the motor out of the Pro Street and put it in the Dodge Challenger, or the Super B rather, than put it in the Challenger. Well, you think, well, I can't do that because this Pro Street Super B motor is going to be a lot smaller. Well, that's not necessarily the case, or vice versa rather. So sometimes when you have a larger car, even if it's smaller scale, it will still fit in a car that's larger scale, but yet is a smaller car in real life. So now that you're probably thoroughly confused, at any rate, here are the remnants of what's left of that attempt. This is the remainder of the rear end of the Challenger, and this is what's left. And I took the front clip of the Super B and put it somewhere, and I don't know where it's at, but anyway, here is the rear end of the the floor pan of the Super B minus the rear tub. Also, the Pro Street Super B did not have a gas tank at all, so I cut the gas tank out of the Challenger, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it work, at least on the outside of the car, but anyway, we'll talk about that in a second. Anyway, here is where we're at so far with that. It turned out good, actually. I was really impressed with the way it handled, as far as the mating up of the two surfaces. The Pro Street Super B side of the tub is a little bit thicker, as you can see, than the Challenger frame or the Challenger chassis is. So what I did was, this is old school, and I think I went over this if you haven't seen the school bus video, go watch it. And I did the same thing with the school bus as I did with this. And I like to do this with when you're mating surfaces together to be glued there are no mounting tabs or pins or anything like that, and in which this case you're only mating two flat surfaces, plastic surfaces together. The same way with the Tom Daniel school bus. The front cab fit to the body of the bus just by two flat surfaces mated together with your choice of glue, whether it be, you know, super glue, 5-minute resin, or whatever. And I started to use 5-minute resin with the bus because it wasn't going to bear any weight really, but I just thought better of it, and I'm glad I did actually. This one I knew for sure I was not going to do anything but use old school plastic welding. Those of you who are, you know, have been doing this for years and years, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. This is kind of for the newer guys. If you ever want to attempt this, or if you run into just one of the kits that you have, and I have in the last 3 or 4 builds had a couple of parts that just stick together, you know, via flat surfaces, and I don't, you know, I'm not crazy about that, but smaller parts you can get away with, sort of. But things like this that are weight bearing, I wouldn't attempt it. What I did was, after I got my measurements and my cuts made, I took and sanded the two surfaces, the surface of the rear tub of the Super Bee and the surface of the cut made on the Challenger chassis. Sanded them, got them good and smooth. I went back with good old-fashioned testers, liquid cement. Now I use Tamiya cement when I'm building, and the reason there being, it's the same thing product-wise, but on the end of that right there is the reason why I do not use testers to in my builds where I'm going to be doing precise application of cement. That you might as well be painting with a house paint brush. But for this it's fine. So what I did was I went with on the two surfaces. Well, actually I just started with the Super Bee side, and I just soaked the surfaces real good with the cement, and I let it sit for a couple of minutes, let it dry, let it start to work into the pores of the plastic. Went back a couple more times doing that with 2 or 3 minutes in between, got it good and soft. Then I went back and grabbed me some sheet styrene, which in this case is, I didn't want to use my sheet styrene that I use for my building purposes for sale sign. This is basically the same thing as .01 sheet styrene, 1/100th thick styrene, and I cut me some strips, the exact, it's almost that width there, but the exact width of the cuts, and put some cement on those and let them soak for a couple of minutes to start to get them pliable. Then I applied them to the cut surface, glued them down, and then over the top of those put more cement. Let them start to get good and soft and gooey. When I took a toothpick and I could touch them with the toothpick, and I could pull strings of plastic up, I knew it was ready. So I took the other side, the Challenger side, and just mated it up to the surface, pushed down just as hard as I could, made sure I had the surfaces even, made sure I had it even top to bottom, front to back, side to side, until all of this plastic from the strips started to squirt out. And I just sat there and held it for about 10 minutes. Once I saw that it was pretty much, it would stay in place, then I started working with getting it straight. And once I got it straight to where it was level, I rested it up on some of these flocking balls that I have. And they make great stands, by the way. Once I got it level and where it stayed pretty much in place, I came back with some styrene, some hex rod. Actually, it's actually pieces of this floor pan of the Super Bee cut into about, I don't know, that's probably a little more than a 1/2 inch strip, 4 of them, cemented those to kind of give it some strength, because all the weight will be bearing from the top down to the bottom. So, and I left it since Sunday. I came back actually yesterday afternoon after I got home, and I only had 2 here, so I applied 2 more, and the surface of the strips were still a little soft and a little bit. I could still bend this just a little bit and get a little play out of it. So I left it alone. I soaked both sides again, got it good and wet again, and let it sit all night. Pushed back on it, and got it to squirt out just a little bit more. Let it sit all night again, and came home today. And well, actually got up this morning. Everything was pretty well secure, and today it's not moving at all. So, you know, I'm pretty well satisfied with that, and I'm pretty well sure that no more weight that it's going to be bearing, I'll be good. So, the last thing I did was I came in with some whiteout, and that's kind of an old school tip, and went in where I could see, if I could see any gap between the 2 pieces of styrene, sheet styrene was, if I could see any dark line in there that let me know those were not completely together, I filled that up with the whiteout to just clean it up a little bit. Same on this side. Now what I'll do probably tomorrow is I'll come back with maybe some 6,000 or 8,000 grit sandpaper and just lightly smooth that up and even it up some. It's never going to look as good as it would if you were doing some filling on your body and where things are going to be, you know, seen pretty much. In here will never be seen. The floor pan, the interior tub will be sitting on the floor, so you'll never see this. This will, once it gets on my shelf, nobody will ever see it. So, I'm not going to worry too much about, you know, how it. You can see where it's been cut, but no big deal. So I'm pretty pleased with that. I have the 66 Nova. I didn't want to take the tub from it and have to go get another kit or, you know, whatever. So I want to build that kit, and I have a couple of others that's got tubs that could be used, but I want to build those kits. So this kit, the Dirty Donnie kit, I don't know if those of you who built it know what I'm talking about. I don't like it. I've looked at it. I haven't built one before, but I can already tell it's junk. Tons of flash. I'm going to steal some motor parts out of it just to dress up, kind of spip up the motor in this Challenger a little bit, and maybe some other things too. But my primary hurdle has been overcome, I think, and we're going to proceed on. So there it is. If you have any questions about how to do this, or if you think you might want to try this down the road, give me a shout by PM, and I'll be glad to, give you any help I can, or give you some tips on how to do this. I may not. I cut a little further away from the tub, from the wheel tubs than I wanted to, and the reason why I had to do that was the way the frame worked on the rear part of the chassis of the Challenger came together, and it was going to interfere with my tailpipe or my exhaust pipe work that's going to have to come. And what I'm probably going to wind up having to do is scrap the kit exhaust and just scratch build or use some aluminum tubing and run it out a little bit further in front of the tires than it originally would have, because the tires that I'm going to be using are the big meats that come off the Super B. So, but other than that, we're going to take it just slow, and I'm going to take my time. I'm not going to get in a hurry with this, and I want this to look good. My little stepson is just chomping at the bit for me to get moving on it, and he doesn't understand that, you know, that things have to be thought out well in advance before you get into something like this when you go to cutting. And the interior tub on the Challenger, the back seat will have to go. It will not fit because of the how big the rear tub is on the Super B. So we're going to cut the back seed out, and I'll do some sheet styrene patching, and then probably go over it with some carpet, aka some felt sheet from Hobby Lobby to clean everything up on the inside. Probably do roll bar and all that. So, but anyway, that's where we're at, and I'll be back here in the next few days to do another update as we make progress. Until I talk to you again, take care of one another. May God bless you and your family. Check you later.